even wanna step, they step with hesitancy. Cause I'm wrecking with ease, flow epidemic on these beats that I finessed in the beam. And got a reservoir of seconds I can spend on you tweets. Think I got a ton of patience, homie, tested to see. I undertook a mission with impossible odds. I can't cruise with no time, uncles, I'm obviously not easily boxed. That's why they be asking what do I rock. It's Tino Ranga, Tita Tonga, and abolish the cops. Oh yeah, unapologetic with my fanatic, don't fear. Better let the team, there ain't no pedestal here. It's real, we don't do pity, aesthetic, not here. But we nice right here, cause we only rock with Mavericks. If you a clone, then step off the canvas. Lest you get beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We gon' leave you beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We said we only rock with Mavericks. If you a clone, then step off the canvas. Lest you get beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We gon' leave you beat up, bullied, and dumped on.
Word to the daughters who robbing me on my flowers. I'm working too many hours, check the time sheet. Cut the sugar out my life, but she's still telling me that I'm sweet. I'll sleep when the job was done. So never too clever, who's your favorite? I'm better. Flow weather, froze ready like Eddie from Mo Tekken, huh? Insecure in your position, so you checking up. Check the front without the rear, out of love or out of fear. I ain't got no competition unless I'm looking in the mirror, oh yeah. Saying that you love me just so you can be my peer. Remember when they hated cause I had a different hair. Now they wanna be invited when it's time for throwing cheers. What the f you think this is? You wanna know the man, but you was trying to kill the kid. Trying to ride my train, you wasn't giving me a lift. Tragic, self-evident to everyone, you ain't no maverick.
Only rock with Mavericks. If you a clone, then step off the canvas. Lest you get beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We gon' leave you beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We said we only rock with Mavericks. If you a clone, then step off the canvas. Lest you get beat up, bullied, and dumped on. We gon' leave you beat up, bullied, and dumped on.
What's good, everybody? What is good? Welcome to an episode of Opinionated with yours truly. I am Resla. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate everybody who came in here. Of course, we're going to be kicking off the episode. It is that night. It is that evening time. It is a Wednesday. It is a hump day for some people. But for those of you who managed to come in here before you start settling your affairs, be sure to actually hit that like button for me. And we are going to be having a particular episode today where we are going to be discussing, well, you pretty much see what the title is. It's being smart, but not being wise. To be a little bit more specific in how I like to kick things off for you guys, it's really the concept of knowing more doesn't make you smarter. And we're going to go over a little bit about that because a lot of people have these ideas of how they speak or whatever candor that they're going through or whatever, and they seem to believe that false pretense, or rather, let me just flip it around. Let me be a whole little bit honest. There are people who take that stuff on as if somehow they are spitting facts, and the truth of the matter is that they're just making it up. So let me get a little bit through a monologue as to what I am talking about, and then you'll get a good idea as to where I'm going at it with it. And then after that, we'll address whoever comes into the building. So how do I want to start this? Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Welcome to the actual episode. This is Opinionated. Again, yours truly. And if you didn't know, if you're new to the channel, that's wholeheartedly okay. We are all pretty much new getting into this. I'm a small channel just coming up. The concept of this channel is that we have thought-provoking episodes where we get into a whole lot of news, trends, ideas. We tackle narratives. We tackle talking points. But the most important part, the key part of everything that we're doing here is that we're giving critical thought back to the individual, back to you guys. I get to spill my point. I get to listen and actually hear from your point as well, as we all have opinions. Because as we navigate a lot of what's going on here in these spaces, what tends to happen is over time, we become very subjected to all the subliminal messaging that goes on through our head. And then we wind up spitting a lot of the rhetoric that we hear online. So I have to always question people when I say, when you are opening your mouth and when you are talking, is it what you're saying is really your views or the views of what you have been subjected to over a period of time? That's the point of this channel. And we're going to dive into that. But let me get a little bit into my monologue, and then, of course, we will address everybody going on in the chat. So today we are diving into that. We're diving into an episode that, I'm not gonna lie, it is going to be something that people are going to be nodding their head and yet shaking their head at the same time. Nope, nope. I just want you to know that more doesn't, knowing more doesn't make you smarter. And yeah, I said it because some people have a different kind of idea when it comes to it. They like to use, the high amount of words. They like to use this, they like that. They're pulling out the dictionary. They like to read the thesaurus. They like to think they pick up a whole bunch of little random facts around the place. But we're gonna cover all that. We are really going to. Just because you know more doesn't mean you are more enlightened or that you are better at navigating life than anyone else. But before you go ahead and start rolling your eyes or getting all fired up, stick with me for a moment. Stick with me. Now, we live in a world currently where information is everywhere. It is everywhere. You can look up anything pretty much in an instant. But the truth of the matter is, just knowing things, whether it's about facts, whether it's about news, whether it's about philosophy, or whatever current trends is going on, doesn't necessarily make you wiser. In fact, for a lot of people, it can just really inflate their ego. Or, to the very timid who are not ready for it, it can make them very much overwhelmed. So, when I'm thinking about it, it's not about what you know, but it's about how you process the information, how you apply the information that you actually have learned, and what do you have actually grown from it. And that's the part where I'm going to be getting into it before we start hopping in the first segment. Of course, I'd like to, address the people who walked into the building. If you have not already hit that like button and make yourself known in the chat, don't just be a sitting by bystander. I love when everybody start talking with each other in the chat. I like to talk to you guys in the chat as well. But we already have a baby girl walking in here. Hey, babe. What's going on, Yvette? The lovely Yvette. So if you're new, I'm very much, when it comes to engagement, I love to talk with you guys. I love to see when you guys are actually talking about stuff. And we'll go from there. Oh, shoot. Look at this. We got Miss Raven walking in the building. Appreciate you. Look at that. He said, "What's good, bro?" We got Blizzy, Blind, Fury. Also welcome to me here. I appreciate all you guys for being over here. Now I'm gonna start out by just really talking about my personal insights first, right? My personal insights first to this particular topic. So I want to talk about let's talk about this idea of people that feel like they are knowing more, or how should I say this? The idea that knowing more equals being better. We see this every day, right? For anyone who is on these internet streets, for anyone who's out there, and by the way, quick little side before I start getting into something, I just had a really, really cool stream with Blizzy Blind Fury. I think we had a really good talk about some stuff. It was really diving into the mind. And I think you guys should really check out his channel. He's gonna be someone that's up and coming. I think I'm gonna start taking a look at his content going forward. He's been really, really doing well. I really like his idea of conversation. I especially like his channel because the same way how I started out small, the same way how he's starting out small, because he likes to engage in critical thought as well. And I think it's gonna be something that's gonna be pretty fire in the future. He's got talent. So be sure to actually check out his channel. At the end of the stream or whatever, I will try to make sure that I actually put his link to his channel, because I think we had a really fire session that was earlier today. But let me not digress. I was saying that we tend to all believe that if we have knowledge, that we all seem to believe that we are being better than the quote average bear. And we see this kind of crap happen all throughout social media. I see it on so many different channels, on so many different platforms. People like to come up and try to one-up each other all the time. You're scrolling through your social media feed, whether you see your shorts or whatever. We see this all the time. And there's always that one person who's posting their favorite quote. They're trying to show up how woke they are. They're trying to show just how much they get it. You know? Or maybe it's that guy that you're talking about who basically is consistently bragging, bragging about the latest self-help books or how great his podcast is. I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying there are people who like to brag about stuff. It's not talking about me. I'm not talking about me. Stop it. Stop it. Before you even start getting in your own bag. Uh, but but there's this thing, and is that really making these people who are trying to showcase that stuff better? And that's the question. Better. Or let me just put it out there. Or is it just making them look like they know more than what they actually do? The knowledge doesn't mean much if it isn't really changing the way how they think, or more importantly, to be honest with you, how they treat other people. Knowing tons of facts does not equate to wisdom. In fact, I've already said this before to you guys. The opposite of wisdom is foolishness. Most people speak through foolishness. They don't speak through wisdom. They don't really take the time to really evaluate the situation and really say they learn for it. Because let's just be honest, even though we were talking about before, we were saying that most people listen to respond, they don't listen to understand. And that's exactly why I really like the conversation that I was having with Blind early today. We really had a good fire session today. Locksmith, he says, "What's good? What's up, fam? Thank you for coming in here." And that was my little thing, just coming in, talking about a personal kind of thing. When because you know me, I just like put bullet points and I just ramble right off the head of what I'm thinking in real time. Uh, so my next one is basically it's talking a little bit about deeper, getting a little deeper into this mess because we have this idea of controversy that happens within the internet. You know, I'm going to get into you. You know, I like to talk about these damn influencers, right? Talking shit like I like the more I'm not sticking my face in front of this camera for you guys to see my beautiful bald skin, that I'm not actually turning into an influencer myself. But I always say, challenge me if you like. I'm fine with it. I am good with it. So let's get a little deeper into this, right? And maybe it might be a little controversial because let's be honest, it's opinionated. And that's kind of what we do here. That's what we do here. Have you ever noticed how influencers can sway people so easily? I'll even say, take a look at me over time. It's not saying I am swaying you because I do like to look at manipulation, but still, follow me down this. You ever notice how there are people who like they're really good, they're really cunning, they love to sway a crowd. The more people that they draw in, people just start really understanding what they're about to say before they even really say it. Even if they're not always, quote, the brightest of people. By me just saying that, you already know. You can think of so many different creators and so many different spaces that are not bright, but they draw a crowd. They're electric. They're magnetic. People fall into this trap of thinking that someone must be smart or superior just because they have a massive following or that they seem to know more. But let's be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of content is either recycled, it's either oversimplified, or quite frankly, it's just downright misleading. I said what I said. Y'all come for me if y'all want to. I think what really is happening is that people want to feel like they are a part of something bigger. Not for nothing. This is also kind of reason why we kind of building this community of what we have together, because we all want to be some part of something bigger. I just want everyone to be a part of something big, as far as taking back their own mind, their own thoughts from being drowned out and listening to other people spill nonsense. And because they don't fact check them or they don't really think too deeply about it, that they just start swallowing what the person says is true just because they happen to be on a camera or on a podcast or whatever. rather than everybody should be questioned, even yours truly. Which is why I kind of open up the open panel so that you can turn around and say, Resla, you full of shit. I open that up. But when we talk about these people and we give them so much power, we give them so much credence, we gotta think when we are out there, we want to be a part of something bigger. Because I'm just like you guys. When I cut this camera off, I love to visit other people's channels, and I do it for research, or I do it just to be engaged. Sometimes I just love to talk with you guys in the chat too. I like to be a watcher too in the chat and just have fun and cook with you guys. But I also have to understand that when I am paying attention, when I'm sitting amongst people in the chat, it's also a part of being something bigger. Whether it's a particular movement, whether it's a way of thinking, or whether it's just happened to be a trend that's coming up or in the moment. Maybe someone's talking about somebody else that we find the situation very intriguing. So what happens is that people start parroting whatever their favorite influencer says, but not critically. They're not critically thinking about what is the very thing that they're hearing, about the very thing that they are consuming. They don't really think that much about it, because what's so interesting about this idea of information is boring, but entertainment keeps you captivated. And if you can give information with entertainment, it's gold. Which is why places like the Tonight Show or the Daily Show does really well. But the problem is also is that misleading information slipped in to entertainment can also be just as deadly. That's dangerous, right? If you're not thinking about it, it's very dangerous. Because now knowing doesn't equal to thinking better. It's just louder thinking. That's just my thoughts on it. Now, I might have just said something because you might have just thought about your favorite content creator. You may have thought about channel you're gonna be. Maybe you're a content creator yourself and you thinking, well, this guy is full of shit. And this part might actually ruffles some feathers. But we're gonna be doing this anyway. We're gonna be doing this anyway because there's something else I need to cover. We just turn around and we jumped on content creators, right? You know there's something else I gotta jump on, right? Religion. Yeah, you heard me. You heard me. Let's talk about religion. It fits into all of this. I promise you. It fits into all of this as well. I took a shot at people who weren't. Now I gotta take a shot at people. Yeah, I gotta make the correlation, folks. For a lot of people, religion is great because it offers structure. It does. To a lot of people, religion offers a lot of structure. And it takes away the stress of having to figure out the complexities of life all on your own. And there's a comfort in having a set of rules that you have to live. This isn't a bad thing. I'm not crapping on religion because of that. I'm not really thinking about even crapping on religion. I'm just saying what I already know to be a thing. In fact, many societies' laws are based on religious principles. Let's just go down some of our favorites. Don't steal, don't kill, all of that great stuff. But here's where things get tricky. Remember what we're talking about, folks. Being smart, it's not being wise. Here's where things get a little bit on the tricky side. Because religion operates on a very simple set of instructions for life. It sometimes leads people to have simple answers to very complex problems, thinking that they have that the world's problems can just be on simple little solutions that they have in their book for very complex situations. And that's where we run into a lot of trouble. Because we live in a complex world. In fact, blind, you and I were talking about that. When we talk about one specific thing, we can go black and white on it. That's not a problem. But when we start getting into the nuance as to what people perceive things to be, rather than what we perceive things to be, it gets very murky. We live in a world that's very complex and has a lot of complex issues. So we can't always solve them with black and white thinking. And sometimes knowing less and following a set of path, following the set path is easier because it removes all of the freaking mental gymnastics, all of the critical thought that comes along with it. It eliminates a lot of mental burdens. It's a system that's designed for, I don't want to call you simple, but it's a system that's designed for simplicity. But what happens when life gets messy? What happens when life gets complicated? What happens when you run into situations that are more nuanced? What do you do then? Let's just look at it this way, right? Regardless of whether you are a non-believer or whether you are a believer, let's look at something we all have to do. Let's look at our career progression, for instance. If you're in a religion that teaches that hard work and prayers will get you where you want to go, what happens when your hard work, your prayers still get you passed over for a promotion? Does that make you intelligent? Does that make you less intelligent? Does that mean that you failed because you didn't follow the rules well enough? Does that mean that your prayers weren't strong enough? I don't think so. I don't think that at all. I think it means that life is just not as simple as structure tells you. Knowing what you should do isn't enough. I'm sorry, folks, but I say this all the time. You're going to have to critically think about your circumstances. This whole Jesus takes the wheel. You're the one sitting in the passenger seat. Please don't let Jesus take the wheel. Jesus is the passenger. He gave you the might to be able to take care of that. But the structure, right? The structure is a comfort zone. Because I just said it earlier, the structure is a comfort zone of being told what to do. And it makes you feel like knowing that one thing should have been enough. And it sucks to put it that way. But I've seen and I've had these conversations. Life is uncomfortable thinking about critically about religion sometimes. Again, I'll just put it out there. I say this a lot. I say this a lot on my channel. I'm not looking to be right. I'm just looking to be effective. You said it. I didn't. Sometimes just saying I'm afraid away is the same thing like saying I should be doing extra work, but I'm gonna just let God handle it. So God made you capable. You gotta put a little bit extra effort into it. You need to. 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 You need to You need to. I thought it was finding strength through Christ. I thought it was I can do all things through Christ with strength in me. Exactly. God helps those who help themselves. And if you really believe that, like I just said earlier, that what? Christ to strength in me, then you should already understand this one because it's Ephesians 5:9. For the fruit of the Spirit is within all goodness and righteousness and truth. If you are a good and righteous person, then you should understand that that strength is within you. But let's get into it. I know I is knowing more really making you a better person? Is knowing really making you feel like you are better than those who are not so much on the knowing spectrum? Or is it just a false sense of superiority? Because I think about conversations where people who feel like they know the word, they follow the word, are concrete about how life is for other people. And I really believe that people are just very complex all around because you're not just dealing with the people who you are constantly around, you're dealing with people who have other beliefs because they come from other areas, whether it's within your country or outside of your country. LA, what's good, man? People are different. And that is having this complex understanding of the world, you want to look at it that way, making us more thoughtful? Or are we just cluttering our minds with information that really doesn't make a difference on our daily lives? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of information that we gather that doesn't necessarily help. And I think there's really good information that we should be implementing, but most people read it. You get somebody who has a book and, you said, you read that book? Oh, yeah, I read that book. Yeah, I know everything that's going on in that book. And I think that book was awesome. And I think that book is a game changer. Okay, cool. And they implemented nothing that they read in the book. That book has had no shaping on them whatsoever. Did you really learn? You read it, you understood it, but you put no action steps into it, no action plan whatsoever. So, what did you really gain from said book? Just saying. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that. I think we've all had that coworker or that friend who reads every business book under the sun. They know all the corporate jargon, and they say they still they seem to be stuck. They get stuck in the same position at their job, or they still got the same mindset that they're still stuck in. You're reading all this shit. Like, how are you still trapped? You're reading from the best. You're reading Warren Buffett. You said you need to know a little bit more economics. You going through Thomas Sowell. How are you still stuck? What's up with that? Is it because they're not applying what they know? Or it's because knowing things is simply not enough? I want to hear from you guys. I want you to drop your thoughts in the chat. If you're catching us on the replay, drop it in the comment section. I'm going to be reading all of it. I mean, what's the role of knowledge if not literally rooted within self-development? What's the purpose of it? Those are my particular thoughts. But you know what? You know how I do this. Like, I like to have my talk. I like to set the stage. And then after we set the stage, because it's not enough for me to just give my opinion. Again, this is not Resla. Opinionated. This is opinionated with Resla. So, how about we talk about it? Link in the chat. Pin to the top of the chat. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Hey, I do say this: if you're going to be up, let me make my little disclaimer before you guys start thinking about even hitting that link. If you're a person who wants to be up here, you don't wish to be on camera, you do not have to be on camera, but you stay the hell off of camera. That's not made for everybody. I get it. I just want to hear your opinions. We're going to talk about it. We're going to chop it up. We might agree. We might disagree. Whatever. But I also will give you this fair warning. Be careful what you say. Because when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Guys, link is in the chat. You want to chop it up with me? We can go through all this. If you got a disagreeing opinion of it, let's talk about it. I am open to having this conversation. And so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look at the chat, at the Chizat. Shout out to Uncle Fatty. He be getting around. I appreciate him being here. That's an interesting conversation because people have this different mindset when it comes to what diversity is. Coming to the stage. Blind. What's going on, man?
What's up, Resla?
What's going on, man?
Oh, is that me echoing?
Oh, hold on. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Okay.
All right. You're fixed now.
Okay, sweet. Bro, yeah, I think that what you're talking about is probably like one of the most important topics that people can talk about like within our communities and stuff, because knowledge and information is super mishandled, misunderstood, misrepresented, and like people don't really know how to discern for themselves what is good information, what is I mean, for lack of a better word, but like useless information, And a lot of people think that just because they've stacked their collection of factoids higher than the person next to them, that they're more intelligent. But like, to me, it's a better measurement of how a person digests information than how much factoids they actually know.
Agreed. And I think enough of us, because keep in mind, even I tell people, I got books. Like, sometimes you see books behind me, but some of these I write in. Some of those are just actual binders. Some of this is books here, and I also got a whole bookshelf that's sitting over here. So I read, and then like I'm not gonna lie, even I get a little bit lazy. I got updated like everybody else. I do audio books as well. So, but even when I think an audio book is pretty fire, I turn around and I buy the physical copy of it, the physical book.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us, we hear stuff, we think it's really great. It's like picking up values, like picking up from the people that we idolize. We see somebody, we go, I think that's a great virtue that they have. You know what? I think that person resonates with me. I think I'm like that person. But they never actually try to value to themselves and get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of the ideologies we have to deal with, like that's where they're birthed at, is from the point of, oh, I agree with one thing this person said, so let me adopt their entire ideology without understanding it. And then like people just go on and regurgitate this stuff that they don't even understand or really agree with when you boil it down to the brass tacks, I think.
And that's my point, easy. But I made it to a point where I wanted to make sure I tackled the people who follow people on two different spectrums. That's why I looked at religion, but I also had to look at influencers and blind. Like, yeah. That's why I love the conversation that we were also having earlier, because it was so funny that when I had this conversation with you, I already had this whole live stream already set up. I was like, damn, he already talking about some shit. I already know I'm going to pull up some shit, having to talk with him. I already know it.
Yeah.
We talked a little about this as well, is that a lot of people will follow what other people are saying because they don't really take time to really understand themselves. And that's the reason why I have this kind of channel, is that we will have that conversation. But when I have conversation with people, whether it's religious or whether it's actually just in critical thought, most of the time I'm hearing them regurgitate what other people have said because they follow other people's channels. This is why I made it very specific and talk about influencers. Because it's,
Yeah.
as much as we are growing as a community, I'm always telling everybody, you should check me. Don't take what I say at face value. When I leave my links in the freaking bottom, I expect you to actually look at them. I'm expecting you to click on it on your own time if you find it interested, and you say, "Oh, Resla was on some bullshit because he left this out on this." Absolutely. I always say, listen, if you think that I'm wrong or whatever, catch me on another stream, or maybe we could talk about it, or send me an email and my email, and then we'll hash it out. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm okay with being wrong. If me being wrong only puts me in a better position so that I can make better steps next time. So I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. That's
Absolutely,
not what
man.
a lot of people do. That's not what a lot of people do, unfortunately.
Well, and it's almost become like unacceptable, right? To be wrong. Like some people would rather like face the firing squad than be shown to be wrong in front of their audience or an audience, and that's completely backwards from the way that you actually gain understanding of the world or of information. You know?
Well, check this out, Blind. How about the inverse of that? You understanding you were wrong, but your audience or the people that's watching you, they want to hold you accountable to something that you said way back when. You seen it with celebrities.
Yeah.
You got a different mindset now, but I want to catch you for something that you said 8 years ago.
What's interesting that you said that about like the inverse of things is that's the approach that I started today. I had a long talk with another creator last night that had a pretty profound effect on me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try, because I'm not interested in debating. I'm not interested in being proven to be right. I'm not interested in anybody verifying the information I have within my head. Like, I'm interested in connecting with people. So I said, let me reverse the way that I've been approaching this and put my own shortcomings and misunderstandings and stuff like that out there to discuss in a way that I would hope that other people would that are in need of discussion on their issues. You know what I mean? Like approaching it from the standpoint of because too many people are the boss that doesn't want to get his hands dirty when it comes
That's
to
a fact.
YouTube. You
That's
know
a
what I
fact.
mean? So like they're like, yeah, come to my stream and pour your heart out and tell me all of your deepest, darkest secrets and be ashamed and embarrassed and stuff, but don't ever expect me to do that. And I feel like with me reversing that way of thinking, I approach it from a standpoint of I'm human before anything. I get embarrassed. I get ashamed. I make mistakes. I do all kinds of things that the people would perceive as falling short. But if you embrace those things and use them to develop character, then they're not necessarily wrong. You might have been wrong in that instance, but those things aren't wrong for your life, you know?
Yeah, I mean the idea of correcting yourself is fine. You know, when you said falling short, I immediately started laughing because like that cynical part that we were talking about, like just knowing scripture stuff. So the moment you said that, I was like, he said falling short, and I said from the glory of God. I immediately started laughing in my head. I was like, that's so wrong. That's so messed up. I was like, that's so messed up.
That
That was just
stays
me
with you.
nasty.
No,
It
but
was
what's even worse is that like our new mantra or like understanding of falling short is even worse because it's like you don't want to fall short of the expectations of YouTube, like of the expectations of people that are like judging you, you know, and it's a daunting task to have these kind of discussions and be vulnerable and real, but still compete with some of the people that only deal with these factoids, you know, because there's no understanding in their conversation. There's no authenticity. It's more of just like hitting you with just random facts and pieces of information that don't really amount to anything. But how do you have a conversation with that? How do you like truly engage with that? You know?
It's a pain, for sure.
Yeah.
My thing is to always to do what I've been doing the same way how my mentors did it to me, and that is to really even with the short amount of messages they have, don't look at the person. Just always ask them, and it's annoying because like you have to do it because they're giving you little information, which means that you have to annoy them by asking for more information. So you have to
Yeah.
ask to be specific. You have to ask them to be extra specific. And
Well, yeah,
shout out to the porch session
yeah,
coming through.
there's my bad. On my channel, if I barely started, I barely only put out the introduction, but I'm actually starting a book from 1806. It's called the Gentleman's Book of Etiquette and Manual on Politeness. And this book has some profound perspectives and understandings, man. And one of them that resonated the hardest with me was it said because it's like a guide on how to behave as a gentleman in society. It's from 1806,
Oh,
and
I was gonna ask you a question, right? Blind. You said this book. Because
yeah.
you said writing a book. I was like, are you telling me you're a gentleman? Or you out here
Oh
being a
no,
filmmaker? Which
I
one
try.
is
I
it?
want to be. I'm an aspiring gentleman. I am capable sometimes of being a gentleman, but I aspire.
Are you wait, a gentleman or just being nice, just being polite?
Nah, gentleman, because the gentleman is those things completely and totally at all times, and that's something the book helps you to understand. But one of the things that's like that was profound that it says is it said don't when you're engaging with another guy in conversation, you don't want to impress upon them how much you know, because nobody is interested in knowing what you know. People are only interested in knowing that you have acknowledged what they added to the conversation.
That's a fact.
And it's true, right? Like people just want to
That
be
is
reassured.
100% true. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. People. At the end of the day, people want to know that their points were heard and understood. You're absolutely correct on that.
Yep. And it makes it hard for people because like I feel like people like you and me sometimes can be more like concise and have like a specific like an actual tangible point to make. And sometimes that doesn't even matter. That same book also says your presentation is like 90% of everything because the most profound statement in the world falls upon deaf ears if it's given in some obscure language or
Absolutely.
yeah. So like it's more if you present, and it says if you present the dullest of all statements with the proper presentation, then it can be considered like the ultimate witticism or like the ultimate like perspective. And that's true. Like people are kind of simple, you know, and I don't mean that to be derogatory, but like people are kind of
I love it.
easily
I love it. Well, I mean, the way how it was explained to me, like, because I used to be one of these people that wanted to try to learn all of the 10, the 15, the $20 words, right? And then the way it was explained to me by one of my mentors were, you don't want to understand the words in order to utilize them. You want to understand their meanings that you can convey it in simple terms to other people, because most people speak simplistically.
Yes. Well, and you see, that's the thing that I find difficult, you know, because I'm a big reader. Also, I probably read more than I conversate. Excuse me. So my vocabulary or my vernacular is more directed to like getting exact points across the way that literature does, and it's a lot different than conversation because like you said, in conversation you have to be more simplistic and relatable, but in literature you can be kind of like abstract and extraordinary, you know, like more descriptive, and you're going to use like more bigger words and stuff like that, like you said.
I agree, but like that's why I understand, like, when looking at people, like, just in the world that we are now. I even mentioned it earlier and just saying, like, I have to literally force myself to buy a book that I just already bought or like on audio, just to make sure that I go through it and I have something physically intangible, because most people, the work has been done for them. Somebody's talking in their
Yeah.
ear, or they're watching somebody or whatever. It's everything is just has too much ease. And when you're speaking with
Yeah.
people, there's no sense in you knowing all of these high profile words if no one can understand what you're saying. If it sounds like you're speaking the
Yes.
language, but it sounds like a different language altogether.
Bro, that's in the book, man. That you see that's a statement on your gentlemanly disposition, bro, because it says specifically, it says the most important part of being a gentleman that is completely like underserved or under appreciated is the fact of understanding your own language. And not understanding it to like some great extent where you understand it better than people, but understanding it to where you can use it exactly the way that you need to use it whenever you want to use it. Make language work for you instead of you
Right.
having to search for some different language that you don't understand.
Right. That's exactly right. I 1000% agree to that. I've always trying to move that way. But not everybody believes that way. I've met plenty of people that try to take the hard route. Want to believe that if they speak a particular way, that people will accept them. It's just like,
But those people fall short, bro, when it comes to critical thought. Like the thing is that I know that in my day-to-day life, if an emergency comes up, man, I'm the first person that my family, the people around me turn to ask helping with a solution, because I am a critical thinker and I try to attack a problem like head on and get it taken care of. A lot of these people that even if some of them are actually extremely capable at what they do, and they parrot these messages like extremely effectively, and they will fool you into thinking that they're a critical thinker. But when push comes to shove and it's time for them to actually solve a problem that takes critical thought, they fall short. And that's something that's going to hurt them in the long run, in my opinion.
well, I mean, part of the issue of that is a critical thought is not something that's taught in school anymore,
Exactly.
especially at
Exactly.
the lower levels, and it's a
Yeah.
shame. It's a shame that a person should have to go to post education to learn about money, to learn about
Yeah.
critical thought. It's a shame. It really is. And I get it. There's some people
Yeah.
say, "Well, I didn't have to go through that." Well, if you turn around and you look at the border ed, and you look at education just for the U.S. itself, then you would understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
what we're
Well,
going through.
and it's funny that you bring that up, man, because I was actually like, I like to write. Uh, excuse me. Hang on one second.
While Blind getting himself together, he would sound like OG.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I had to clear my throat. Shit, I hit that vape real hard before I came on.
Oh,
Uh,
see, where I said he was like my guy OG Dude 30.
but one of the things that like I'm a firm believer, man, that like I do nerdy shit because it's like it helps me to be a better thinker. It helps me to be a deeper thinker. And I think it was what's that, the astrophysicist that's real famous, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said that, like, and I always like to quote, the mark of genius is being able to understand a situation and understand all of the things that other people can't see, and all of the possibilities and all of the scenarios. And then the mark of like true genius beyond that is to be able to even at some point be able to think so far beyond the box that you're thinking of possibilities and scenarios that are inconceivable to the average person, because they don't.
You say Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I say Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the same thing.
exact same thing. Yeah. and that comes from practice of critical thought. And one of the things that I like to do is I'll write like little I don't know, like dissertations or something. And man, I forgot what my point was. What were we talking about?
He said a whole dissertation. Jesus Christ, I don't got
Yeah.
that kind of time.
Yeah, bro, I'm on WordPad. I'm on WordPad writing like as if I'm writing for like a medical journal and stuff sometimes. And it's only just because if I feel like if you don't get some of these, and bro, people underestimate the impact that an individual has. Like people underestimate advancements in society happen by one person making a decision to do great things. And then like Da Vinci, all these people, man, like they advanced the whole world just by taking control. And I think that if you don't ever put these ideas into the atmosphere, into the ether, they don't ever get acknowledged. So I like to at least just write them down, even if I don't talk about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I forgot what the subject was on. I've probably written like 4 of them in the last week, so I don't know what it was that we're talking about specifically right now.
So specifically, what we're getting on are just the concept of people who believe that they are smarter because they are quote consuming knowledge, but not necessarily doing too well when it comes to the actual implementation. And this is why I also look at it on both a influencer level, as someone inspiring possible influences in the future, but also those who follow the word, whatever book that you're looking in, whether it's you're looking at the Torah, you're looking at the Quran, you're looking at the Bible, whatever. If you want to follow one of your Hindu gods, like whatever, the idea that following makes it easier for you because it takes all the stress out of it, but then also because life is looked at so simplistically, the same way how when we have people who are following influencers, their lives become simple because they just take the people who they are watching words at face value. It's the term of indoctrination that needs to be looked at with a critical eye.
Well, like what you described is kind of like the process of how we water down our character and understanding of everything in life, right? Like it seems like that's what we're on our way to doing. Is
okay.
I mean, well, because think about it. Like, how many of the people, like, let's say, I don't want to pick on them too much, but like, let's say the red pill philosophy. Let's say there's one person that's has a fair enough like logical argument or logical position. Well, out of the 100 guys that watch that and regurgitate it, how many of them have a full understanding of all the things that comprise that philosophy? I would say less than half.
I would say if lucky 2%.
Right. Exactly. So what that's going to cause is a bunch of misinformation and misunderstanding of information, misrepresentation of information. So people are going to come and take these bits and pieces, because you can't just call. That's the thing about mimicry and parroting, is that you can't just call upon the source whenever you go to engage with somebody. If you have a conversation, you can't just call up the red pill guy and ask him what he fully meant when he said this. So you have to take liberties. And that's where it gets misconstrued.
And most people don't.
Yeah, and that's how stuff turns into, like, from a legitimate, reasonable, like MGTOW when it first started was a reasonable philosophy, and then it got regurgitated so many. And the thing is that nobody is willing to be the person that says, "Hey, you're bastardizing this information." Like, that's hard to do when you're facing a big group, So it's like it just keeps on getting regurgitated back. It's like like two birds just like spitting food back into each other's mouth.
I agree. I've seen channels where I've seen two people who claim to be MGTOW fight against each other. Well, you're not really MGTOW because you say this, and you're not really MGTOW because you do this. And I'm like, well, you're both claiming to be MGTOW. I thought it was literally going your own way. Why the fuck are you arguing with each other?
Well, what's scary, because I like to look at things as a like how they pertain to like what their implications on society. And what's scary about that concept right there is if we really break down what's happening, is this is two men that are basically having a pissing contest about who has separated their lives more from women. And that's like a very
and live
important
a
part of
better
life.
life. Yeah, and live a better life. But then I'm gonna bring it back. Check this out. How does that make it any different than two people who are dealing with religion turn around and say that my God is better than yours?
Well, I mean,
It's
it's more
ideology,
poisonous for
literally.
sure. It's more poisonous because only for the simple fact that those people are going to influence more people. Because I mean, anybody that understands healthy,
Wait. Who's gonna influence more? Because I see the same thing for religion as the same thing as people who follow MGTOW, as some
no, but
people who follow.
religion isn't going to drive you away from finding a partner in life. Religion isn't gonna present you with an argument that makes you feel like the way to become first place is.
I might have to disagree because here's the thing. You can be religious. That doesn't mean that you have to find a partner.
No,
And remember, and remember
it is
the and remember
exclusively. It isn't
remember that the
exclusively
entire
like
premise
trying
and one
to.
of the first tenets of sorry, not Red Pill. Well, even Red Pill and MGTOW, anything really in the manosphere is the first part is that you need to become quote your best version of you outside of women.
Oh, is it? I've never. I don't give them any kind of play.
Whether you are in the manosphere, which is just general and just saying men need to work on themselves, whether it means get better, get more money, or be in the gym or whatever. Again, red pill promotes that. Getting in the gym, getting money, doing the best for yourself. MGTOW says get in the gym, get money, do it yourself. The difference between red pill and MGTOW is that red pill teaches you strategies to quote get yourself on the quote sexual marketplace value so that you can sleep with as many women as you can. Where MGTOW just basically says do not engage with women whatsoever.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: why can't those ideologies, like with because there's some positive aspects to that. I mean,
I agree.
in the preparation for sleeping with all these women, you're gonna probably put yourself in better shape. You're probably gonna find some better health and stuff. But why can't these? And this is what I'm attempting to do with my channel, man. And I don't know exactly how it's gonna end up. But I believe that you can have these philosophies that are for the betterment of a person without the gender boundaries, because that, like, why insist? I mean, because more than anything, you should be wanting these things to work in tandem with a successful relationship. Like, if you
Okay.
can have these ideologies that are, or these disciplines rather, that are bettering your life and have a successful relationship with a successful partner that adds value to your life and makes you happy, like makes you love life.
Be careful,
Then,
blind. Be careful. Some people might be watching you and think you might be blue pill.
yeah. Oh no, I took the blue pill willingly the other day. I said
Oh
that. I
wow.
was like,
Okay.
yeah, I was like, well, I mean, because they're the only ones that I can see that seem normal, man. And I'd rather just be normal. Like, they can call me whatever they want. I'd rather just be normal. And
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't
He said
want
he
to
got
push
his
women
prescription,
away.
folks. Good. He said he took his already.
Well, dude, don't you like? I don't know. I find something particularly, like, specifically poisonous about the idea of pushing women away, man, and denigrating them constantly. Like, it just seems so counterproductive.
Uh, I'm not gonna hold either. I could, but again, there's just so much I don't know because the man's position is circumstantial. But I will say this much: it does run on the mindset of scarcity and fear. You know, because I've heard men on both sides, both MGTOW and Red Pill, who talk about losing things that they don't even have.
Yeah.
We'll lose all this
Well,
money. You
well,
got money now? No. So what are you doing right? You got your business something together? No, I'm sleeping on someone's couch.
Yeah.
Homeboy, like stop.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that like in an ideal world, you would enact all these disciplines and become a better person to get that higher status female or to like I don't see what is appealing about like deviating from your biological uh tendencies or like inclinations. It's crazy to me. Can you give me a positive, like honestly, like from as far as like let's just say MGTOW specifically, and I'm talking about lifelong. Like if you were to commit to that for the rest of your life, do you think that's a positive thing?
Well, you're asking me specifically for my point of view because I'm pretty sure, as I just mentioned, some people look at it from a
But
scarcity
your point
point
of
of view.
view on others, not as it pertains to yourself individually. Like if you had to give a an analysis of a community, like do you think that that is beneficial for society?
Um, no, you said okay. Okay. You made a clarifying point. You said society. The answer
Yeah.
would be no. The answer is no.
It's probably damaging, right? Like in the long term, because women and men need to have relationships to have more children or to have
Well,
children
you
at
need to
all.
procreate for sure.
Yeah, and pushing them further and further away. It's and then taking pride in how far you're able to push them is bizarre to me. I mean, it's
It,
crazy, man.
well, like I said, the way how that gets pushed is, at least on the MGTOW side, is this whole scarcity mindset of what you'll lose or so. But again, Red Pill will do that as well. But Red Pill does say make the most of yourself so that you can sleep and get quote the highest value woman based on where you are on the
Can
totem
you
pole.
explain that to me? Like, I don't understand the
So
concepts really.
all
Like,
right,
what do you mean by scarcity?
okay, so people, well, so when I say scarcity, I mean like people who are afraid, I can't get with a woman because she's gonna divorce me for half my shit. I can't get with a woman because when the going is good, she's gonna divorce me and take the kids, and I'm gonna get raped through the family courts. And it's all about loss. Whether they are currently going through it, whether it's perceived that they could go through it, like it doesn't matter. There are guys who will literally avoid women because of what they think they could possibly going through it because they are living vicariously through the influence of other men that turn around
Yeah.
and say, "Don't do it," because all you're doing is signing yourself up to, or signing yourself up to be in a world of hurt and heartache. And I don't. Here's the thing: I don't disagree with them because there are some people who go to that, but the way that they will make it seem like is that it happens to the majority.
Well, it seems like, to me at least, it seems like those men only live vicariously because, I mean, yeah, those things are gonna happen, and that's character building. That's life, man. That's just like you can't uh, like if you think that you're gonna be able to, because what's the alternative? To not take a chance and have this lonely life where you're just like miserable and your whole existence is hateful.
Well, if you want to hear it, not, and I'll say it this way: this is not all MGTOWs are created equally. Because some say it's okay to mate and date. Some of
Okay.
them say that they just say don't get married, don't don't get married, and don't move in together.
And
They say if
don't
you
give
want,
a woman control.
well,
Like
not
that's the
control,
main point,
just
right?
keep your space, she keeps her space, and have a relationship. Just don't get married. They
Okay.
do long-term relationships, whatever.
I
There's
mean, well,
some
then that's simple enough. I can vibe with that. I mean,
well,
shit,
but
I don't
well,
want to ever
well,
get
then you
married.
get the others. You get the other doomer types that just turn around and say, don't basically don't even get in a situation where you might have to sniff a woman.
You see, this is what I mean by like the implications of an idea and their reverberations beyond just the situation. Because I would wager to say that the majority of the first one that you mentioned the majority of those are probably the more OGs, and the latter is probably the more newer age, and that's, I would honestly, my money would
I wouldn't
say
say newer age, not at all, because
no. So like,
there are definitely guys in there are definitely guys in the ages of their seniors
well,
that are
yeah, no,
behaving.
I'm just saying, like, in the sizes, like, is the majority of the people
Well,
that say like stay away from women completely, are those like the newer?
let me tell you the three that I know for sure that I have run across in the space. You have the MGTOWs who are they're okay with sleeping with women, dating with women, or building themselves up. It's really about them and making sure that they are good in all aspects. Then you get the ones that I just mentioned before. They are the doomers. You can't bother getting with women because, quite frankly, everything is bad about them. Woman bad, no good in woman. Don't touch woman. Don't smell woman. Don't be around women. If you are
Yeah.
if you think about women, that is a bad thing. You should just be to yourself. And then there are those who understand that women are around and they understand that they're going to have to work with women, whether it means getting a job or whatever, but they are called MGTOW monks. They just refuse to sleep with women. Now, dealing with women and understanding that you are not dating them, you know that they are a thing you can't run away from versus these other guys who just wall themselves off. Like I'm gonna start my own business, be by myself because I don't want to ever have a woman around me.
Well, and I'm seriously, I don't know the answer to these questions, so this might sound derogatory. I don't mean it to be, but is there a portion of these people that are gay? Like, are they?
Oh,
I'm curious. Like, are they? Is there an alternative sexually for these people that isn't
sir,
really?
we are on YouTube. Don't you know there are no gay MGTOWs and they're all making over $100,000? You didn't know that they all rich?
Is
You didn't know that?
the narrative or what?
That
I
is the narrative. They're all six-figure earners. They all doing their thing. None of them is suspect.
Well, to me, the whole, not the whole, because I get it, man, and to me, it's excuse me, it's reminiscent of an atheist that's just recently um, declared his non-belief in God. The same way that an atheist is talk, like a new atheist is all about how God is bad and detrimental to your life and stuff. That's what these MGTOW guys remind me of, because I mean they seem to be so passionate about it because they were either damaged or hurt by a woman and didn't find a healthy way to like deal with that. I mean, that's just my point of view. Like I said, I'm not an ex. The only part I know about, I mean, I was around at the birth of MGTOW. I saw it happen, but it got stupid enough, fast enough that I was just like, ah. I mean, I don't need somebody else to tell me how to have chicks avoid me. Like that shit. I mean, that seems pretty
I mean,
easily done.
it's a both side thing. Because like the same way how we can turn around and we can say all the stuff about the MGTOW guys, I have to say it as well. Like they some they do have enough evidence to say that there are enough quote as is dubbed modern women who do behave in a way that is not conducive to a long-term partnership. That's not the fact that I have to do this because I hate doing this. The not all police, Jesus Christ.
Uh,
But the idea is not all women. Calm down, women.
Most of them.
Um, but the idea that there are people who they and not for nothing, they also serve as a narrative because we're also talking about the online life, but they serve as examples as to why men believe. Because let's just be honest, we'll look at it, the numbers. The majority of people who are on YouTube are men. Men are mainly the ones who are watching YouTube. And as these platforms become very popular, men are seeing the the boatload that they cannot trust women.
Okay,
Even to
so
the point
I'm
where we
curious.
have quote the manosphere women who are just basically grifters. That's why you get into like pearly things and shit like that.
Well, and they're toxic. Those are the truly toxic people in that philosophy. If you ask me, like I've said many times, there's no more there's no bigger display of toxic masculinity than from a feminist. And because a woman that adopts an ideology like that, man, is gonna overcompensate and just take it to the extreme. But when it
You
comes
got
to
you got Dahlia says this is one of those rare times I'm green or blind.
yeah, yeah. But I'm curious: is there a like an overall end goal that's like conducive to a better society, or is this purely a selfish ideology with only the idea of how it benefits yourself, or is there like a bigger picture?
We'll tie this back to the aspect of religion, because what we're talking about is not a ideology, it's a human condition. Is there a way to really bring forth all those religions so that we can have one religion that'll work for everybody? The answer is no. And the same thing's gonna run for these ideologies.
Well, okay, look, but my thing, okay, and I'll even try to soften my approach by saying this, like, I my concern and my feelings in the whole situation are for the young men that adopt this ideology without understanding its implications. And only because I've had successful relationships and I understand how, man, like, there's, if you can accomplish that for the little time that you are able to, there is no greater achievement in life, man, than to have a successful, smooth running, happy relationship, in my opinion. And these
So
guys miss out on that.
so what, there are some MGTOWs that are saying, you heard what you said, a great successful relationship. He's just missing two words.
What?
Right now.
What do you mean?
Right now. That's what they're gonna say right now. Because she's gonna switch up on you later. That's exactly what they're gonna say.
But that's life.
It's a
Like,
great
that's,
successful
your car is
relationship
gonna break
right
down.
now.
Like, your car, I'll probably cheat on her before she cheats on me in reality. But like, it's not from lack of effort. Shit, I tried. I was there. I engaged, but something went wrong somewhere. Like, that's the way this shit goes. I mean, you can't. You
And then you
can't.
know what's gonna happen, right? When you just even saying that, there's going to be those other female spaces like because we talked about, you said blue pill, red pill, and then now you're gonna talk about the pink pills. The pink pills who will turn around and say, you
There's
see,
pink pill.
guys like blind, he ain't shit, ladies. This is what we talking about, and this is why. Oh, then we gonna talk about the pink pills. Oh, we forgot about the swirler community. This is why these men ain't shit. Black girls, get yourself a white man, because you can't trust nobody.
But you see, this is where I say the homosexual aspect comes in, because it's like, bro, like, let's think about this, like, from the most caveman perspective that you can, you know?
Wait, hold on a moment. If you ever saw Men in Black, I'm about to hit you with the Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, try it. Try it. Talking about this
It is,
Give it a try. Give it a try.
And when you're going through the heartbreak, and believe me, man, I am rebounding right now from probably the greatest heartbreak of my life, yo. So real talk.
Dahlia, I would have rather been a panty assassin than to understand heartbreak.
Hey, I done that too, and that ain't too bad either. But
All right, hold on 1 second, but hold on. So coming to the stage, are you good? You good, Distro? You good, Distro? Okay. What's good, my guy?
Pura vida.
What's going on, brother?
Todo tranquilo. Everything well?
Yep.
All right. This is my first time here. I just saw your channel yesterday. I love having this type of conversations. Let me introduce myself so it gives you an idea whom you're talking to. I am in Central America, Costa Rica, born. I was raised all around, lived in the United States, not once, but 3 occasions in my life. 43 years old, once divorced, once married, once divorced, currently in a good relationship with a woman in the last 2 years.
Okay.
And I'm a I major in law, international law, and sociology, and I have other minors as well.
That's what's up.
Tight, bro. You're hey man, salute to you, bro. Sounds like you're getting business done.
Your credentials is on point.
Yeah, well,
Yo,
just give you a perspective, and I wanted to jump in because if I may give my position in this sense,
please.
Absolutely.
I do consider that, I'm sorry, I'm still learning the names. Resla said there is a lot of components of fear and misconceptions in those movements. Also, miseducation coming from the nucleus family nucleus, either from parents or close family members who may have had an influence in that sense. In my own personal life, I love my relationship with women, mainly because my family, my grandmother had 5 kids, 4 women, one man. All the leaders in my family are women.
Oh
All the
wow.
all the leaders in my
Wow.
indigenous tribe are women. So for me, the relation with women is something that has been ingrained since I was a kid.
And do the men know that? Like that,
Yes.
like that's okay. I just want to make sure
Look,
that you're not saying like that you're saying what I think you're saying. Like that
Right. Right. I doubt he said we're going to let them pretend that they're in charge. Like
well,
I doubted
yeah,
that.
people sometimes like people don't really know what's actually going on in their life, you know. So I was just double checking.
Latin America has an interesting situation. There is that concept of machismo, which in English translates to red pill. But also,
He's not lying. He's not
Funny,
lying.
bro.
I'm not lying. I'm just
I mean,
indicating
yeah,
it.
I guess you could say that's taking a little bit of liberties with that interpretation, but
I'll grant you that one. It's a bit of liberty, but hey, you can translate it to that way, you know. But again, in Latin America, you have that macho, traditional Catholic Christian imposition into the relation of women. But
yeah.
there has also been an evolution in regards to that. For example, Latin America has elected women to presidencies. Look at Dilma Rousseff in Brazil, Zinea Castro in Honduras, Michelle Bachelet in Chile, Laura Chinchilla, Costa Rica, so on. We also are seeing furthering into that, and also in many indigenous prior Europeans, the leaders were women, and that continued on even under the European controls and after the processes of independence. So that dichotomy of the men wanting to always control the women, the machismo, that red pill type of views, that resentment, fear, misogyny, blah 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 blah, versus the balance that in parts of our society has continued. So that dichotomy exists. So in my position, I tell you as me person, I find it ridiculous. I find it absurd. It is not for me. And me as an individual, as somebody who recognizes I'm a man, I'm heterosexual. I have proclivities towards enjoying my relationship with women. I enjoy my the marriage I had. The divorce happened, whatever. But it's all part of life. It's all
Well,
part of growing
can
up.
I ask you? Can I ask you? Are you saying that the without surrendering your own capability or your own value, that you are able to say that like that women are capable and valuable the same way that a man would be in those positions of power?
Yes,
Because
and
that's the
they
way that
will.
I feel too. I feel like they're discounted with these philosophies, and that's a huge disservice to society.
It is. It is, and in the same way that women are capable in the same way men are capable of those positions of power, women are
Oh,
capable of fucking up in the same way
Yeah.
a man can fuck up. So
Yeah.
I can feel my haters saying, look at this cuck fest happening here. I can just feel
Oh
my
yeah.
haters.
Cook me up, bro.
I can feel my haters. Look at all those.
You just gotta own it, dude, and then they don't have nothing else to say after that. They just they avoid you, because I got like a couple of MGTOWs on my radar that I'm hunting, and these fools won't have a single conversation with me, man. Because
Honestly, I rock with what you're saying. I respect it. I really do.
well, and the thing is that if I was a cuck, if I was a blue pill twat that didn't know anything about anything, would that make any of my arguments less reasonable? You know, because I try and present the most reasonable argument, and to me, it just seems like the most fundamentally backwards thing we can do, man, is to push our young men away from women. Like, if there's a scarcity issue and there's a value issue, then you're going to be served a lot better to get your to stake your claim with a woman and get one, and then try to develop her into like a woman of the highest caliber. Like, that seems like the best solution for that. But I mean, what do I know? I'm a blue pilled cuck fuck.
no, I'm going to tell you in my position, the art of rhetoric, the art of presenting arguments,
Yes. Yep.
has to do with two major elements: your capability of interiorizing information and knowledge, and then being able to present it forward in the most clear way possible. But the
Yeah.
art
Absolutely.
of rhetoric is, and also presentative argument, is the tool of the charlatans. You have to know
Yeah.
and differentiate when the words coming out of the mouth of somebody else is entirely systematically. I'm going to say it this way: if it feels like bullshit, if it smells like bullshit, and it tastes like bullshit, it's mainly bullshit.
Yeah. I like
So
this guy, man. This guy has some information to drop. Shoot. Salute, bro.
thank you. Thank you. Man, it's 43 years of life, man. Something's
Well,
got to come out of
it
it.
seems to me, I think it seems elementary to me. Like, the value of women is so underappreciated, man. Like, and I know all these guys are going to talk about how I'm a cuck and blue pilled and all this stuff, but like, the thing is that like those guys that like women have never had to put themselves in such a foolish position to say, I'm gonna go ahead and just like what kind of commitment is that? In all honesty, it's not a reasonable one for like a person that wants a normal life. Like, I'm just gonna avoid everybody of the same sex unless you're gay. That's a bad idea. Like, that's a miserable time. Like,
In the sense of United States, I would be defined under the concept of liberal in that sense. But that's because my inclinations are actually
what's
liberal
changing?
in the right sense how we explain it in Latin America. Liberal is not in Latin America is not construed as in the United States. Liberal
It's
in
it is open minded.
open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll give you an example. I had one of those guys throw me the "What is a woman?" question. So I simply answered Homo sapiens sapiens. A woman is a Homo sapiens sapiens. I
Simple.
kid you not. There was 5 seconds of entire and systematic silence where where I was knowing that the room was saying to themselves, this motherfucker just crushed this asshole, and this asshole did not realize how he got crushed. And he says, no, that's not what I'm asking. So for you, a woman is not a Homo sapiens sapiens. So I should assume that your position is not that a woman is a human. Therefore, if they're not human, what are they? That's the whole thing about this whole point of conversation.
Yep.
They're
Uh,
so drunk in their own Dunning-Kruger effect that they don't even realize it.
All right, let me address the chat real quick. I see we got a lot of comments going in. So KTS worker. Yes, this is really the gentleman's experience. And guys, let me just put this out there because you didn't read it before. Because I know some of you don't like to read, and I don't do audio for you guys. But disclaimer is in the actual description as always. That guys, the content that is presented in our videos is based on their own personal opinions, experiences, and research. Yes, that is everything that they're saying is their own experience. I don't want you to think that something that Blind is saying it goes to the both of us, me or Disto, or that what Disto is saying goes to me or Blind. This is our own perspectives, and we're just having a meeting of the minds of our own thing.
Yes. Hey, and I thank you, Resla, for allowing us to come up here and have our own unique perspective because that's not afforded to everybody. So I salute you for that alone, man. And I respect. I don't want to be misunderstood. I respect, and my heart actually goes out to the young men of this MGTOW and red pill philosophy, man. I don't think you see when like when they roll out a new drug and like a pharmaceutical drug. The thing is, sometimes we don't know for 20, 40 years what the damage is that actually is done to people with this drug. And I feel like that's what these ideologies are, man. That these people that are engaging in it don't understand the poison with which they're actually putting into their life, man.
Don't get me started on drugs because that's one of my areas of expertise.
Oh no, I don't want to get into drugs.
I work in matters of drug policy reform. In fact, in my country, Costa Rica, as well, I worked in Mexico, Colombia, and some other places. In Costa Rica, I was one of the major activists to push forward the legalization of medicinal cannabis through Congress.
Dang.
Hey,
And
listen,
in the span of 13
we need
years.
to save that for another stream. I don't want to get into
Yeah.
drugs.
Long
We
conversation.
have to save that for a separate stream all on its own, man.
Yeah, I want to be a part of that, man. I think this is a very interesting dude right here. So this guy has some information, man.
So let me put something on the perspective on the sense. Look, me as an individual, I know who I am. I know where I was born. I know my cultural heritage. I know the good, the bad, and the ugly of my cultural heritage. I know my interaction with other cultural heritages in this Western hemisphere, in this continent, and in relation to the world. I know I am a man, or what can be defined as a man. Why?
Yes.
Because after 43 years of life, there's nothing that can be said, done, or thrown my way to try to gaslight me of who I am as an individual. I know my sexual preferences. I know my personal preferences mixed with my sexual preferences. I know what I enjoy or not enjoy in many fields. So when I hear this whole conversation from those areas, the only thing I hear is I am afraid. I have no fucking clue where I'm standing, and that fear is driving me.
Yeah.
That's all I hear.
Well, and that's I wouldn't be able to put it so eloquently, but that's the position that I come from in the fact of my manhood can't be threatened. Like my manhood is established and in concrete because I am a man, I behave like a man, and I have the mind of a man. I mean, I may not have the ideal man's behaviors or whatever, but like the thing is we've gotten into backwards land because like what you just said about being a man in this current environment that we're in, who would think that the measure of a man would be how far away you can get from a woman? Like, because that's what these MGTOW and red pill guys are like. No, I'm more of a man than you are because I've been woman free for 12 years. And the next one's like, nah, I've been woman free for 15 years. And it's like,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you like I said earlier. Like when we say MGTOW, like I like to say some because MGTOW was not created equal. I've definitely seen
Yeah.
them on different spectrums. Again,
Yeah.
I've seen
And I'm talking about the more extreme.
no, I've seen the doomer, some the extremer ones. I've seen the monks, and then I've seen the ones that are okay with mating dating. Like I've seen all three work. I just find it so funny that even in a niche, a very fine and niche community, that they still argue amongst each other. And so, what is the right way?
And what's interesting is that we're entering the arena of stereotype. So here's the thing: when somebody says, "What is to be a man?" Okay, look, in my own sense, when I started being aware of my physical body, of my genitalia, as well as the rest of my body. All right, so this is what they define as man. You gotta have that thing between your legs and blah blah blah. But then you start
Yep.
realizing who the L is defining all this type of things, where you start getting a little bit more smarter.
Yeah.
And then you realize, for example, me in my youth, I was a weird mixture. I was a jock. I loved playing soccer. I play well, not soccer, football. It's called football.
No,
I
it's
play.
called soccer.
It's not play soccer. It's football, the real football. But anyway,
Hey, but this
I
is
also,
where
I
ideals
also,
come into play, like in your equation, right? This is where ideals, the ideal of what a man is, or the ideal of how a man is supposed to behave.
hold on. Exactly. That's where I was going to get to. So yeah, I played football. I played running back in the U.S. version of football. I love baseball. I did martial arts since I was 7, 8 years old. I practiced martial arts, etc. But at the same time, I was a bookworm. I loved reading. I played Magic the Gathering.
Are you sure
I
your name's
played
not
video
James Bond,
games.
bro?
My
You
man
the
said he
most
played Magic the Gathering. Let's go.
Magic the
Let's
Gathering.
go.
Then, hell, when I was when Yu-Gi-Oh came out, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh
Bro,
and
I'm a
all this
I
stuff.
Yu-Gi-Oh
was just
master,
about
bro.
to say Yu-Gi-Oh. I was just about to.
Yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
Yu-Gi-Oh master.
So at the same time, while I was doing those ideal aspects of athletic things of what a boy was supposed to do, I was also inclined into other interests. Um, I'll give you an example, dude. I love gardening. I've gardened a long time in my life. It's one of the best things I do. I love gardening, but that's usually known as an activity of women. So, with this example, I just want to say the problem with the arguments that emanate from stereotype is that they're flawed in its inception because humans are not a monolith. Therefore, stereotypes are nothing more
But
than
not
projected
fundamentally. Not stereotypes
prejudice.
are useful also because the thing I agree with what you're saying, and that's a part of the equation. But the stereotypes exist in the first place not because we've uh, designated women to be gardeners, but because more women are inclined to garden than men. In your example, like so, some of the like stereotypes are born out of actual, and it is generalized data, but it is data. It's not empirical, but
The problem
so
with stereotypes is that they become self-fulfilling prophecies. And
yeah.
once they become self-fulfilling prophecies, the manifestation of and the declaration of a stereotype or an idealized behavioral whatever aspect of what it should be then becomes exaggerated behavioral reality
But that's
in
if you push
relation.
them to their extreme. I mean, you acknowledge that they have their importance, right? Like when you're making snap judgments or whenever you're just generalizing, like stereotypes can be useful.
So, for example, if I'm walking on a dark road and I hear a sound, my primitive brain is going to say, "Oh boy, a lion or something about to kill me! Run! Get the hell out of there, or stay
Yeah.
and fight." Whichever the two. That's one thing. Yes, they are. Our brains will have those quote unquote primitive
Or
reactions that
if
are
you see a
still
gang
there.
member,
Mhm.
like an even better example is if you're walking down that road and you see somebody with a red bandana on and a pistol, like you're gonna make the snap judgments, you're going to stereotype them, and but that's going to save your life in that instance.
It can, but it can also lead you to a road that you may have misjudged that situation and put you and others in danger. So it's a 50-50 type of situation, especially if we extrapolate and go to modernity, to today, to the relations. Because yes, if we look at the history of us as Homo sapiens, when we were in the wild, when we were just hunter and gathering, etc., to the formation of civilizations, to the agriculture, the agricultural revolution, to the industrial revolution, yada 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 yada. This last 12,000 years or more of organized human history, then we come to realize that those stereotypes, as such, or the continuing on such stereotypes, are terrain for prejudice. And that prejudice then becomes xenophobia, racism, yada, 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 yada,
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I believe that it has the potential for that. Yeah, but I don't think that that's always going to be the case. Because I believe, like I said, I believe that stereotypes play an important role in society, but they don't always turn into, because being biased is a little bit different. Being biased is different than like just classifying somebody as something.
I think one of the best examples that we have of that development of prejudice, of stereotype becoming
Prejudice, racism, yeah,
etc. We see it 70 years ago, Second World War. What was the basis of that stereotype in Germany?
Well, it depends. Are we talking about accepted common misunderstandings, or are we talking about real history? Because you get into very tricky territory when you're talking about World War II, and it's
because I want to make sure I don't really stem that far into that.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to dwell into that, but I'm just going to give it as a overall thing. Yes, I'm a fanatic of World War II, and I handle the history very well. But what I'm trying to exemplarize on that, or in more recent times, the conversations in regards of irregular migration towards the United States and the conversations around it. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that in no way, shape, or form or manner, one can deny that there are certain stereotypical reactions that may have fruitful resolution to what is being faced at that moment. But in today's world, in this modernity, in this complexity of that world, we've seen contrary to that.
Yeah, you're right. I will give you that. I will give you that. That everything has changed in a way to where you can't really use the same type of stereotypes. I mean, especially because people go against the grain at like every chance that they can, and they dilute the stereotype to the point of no meaning. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So in that sense, yes, there are reactions that are considered stereotypical or that are considered biased because of a circumstance, just like that, walking down that road and something happens, you see something, yeah, you're gonna make a snap judgment because that's your the flight fright run portion of your brain saying danger, get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
something is about to happen. Versus,
I just real quick, I just want to deviate from the current conversation to ask Resla. I saw you put in the chat that you don't think that love fixes all. Tell me that that's not really something that, like, you don't think that love fixes all, dude.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh shoot. Here we go. He gonna get me started.
Let's get it cracking.
He about to get me started. Explain to me, because you can only explain it from your point of view. What exactly is this magical thing that you call love?
It's a chemical a reaction that happens within your head that gives you all these warm and fuzzy feelings and stuff. But I'm talking about beyond that.
You mean the same thing that fires up in the same synapses of your brain for hate?
No. I'm talking about.
It's the same
I'm
thing.
not just talking about the initial. You're right. Like that part, you can discredit. I'm talking about the connection that's established whenever you foster that thing in a healthy way for
Wait. So let
any
me put
amount
this
of
out
time.
there because I think this is something very important. What's more important because we're going in reference of importance is that's why I'm going at in the reference of importance. Do I me specifically do what I care more about this idea of an emotional connection or an actual understanding? Because one thing we understand about people who turn around and being emotional is that it's not very understanding.
Have you ever been in love?
No, I
Real
just been out
question.
here bunker bustering for the hell out of it for the past 4 decades. Just
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I just
Stupid
have to
question.
agree with Raz here for a quick moment. Look, if we look at, all right, this is the part of me coming out and being all intellectual and stuff, but I'm gonna keep it simple. If we look at the etymology of love in the English sense versus the word amor in Spanish, Portuguese, French, etc., uh, it has an interesting etymological and then colloquial application of it. But then, if we go just for the simple biology aspect of what is love, and we have to recognize the prefrontal lobe, the
Yeah, but
hypothalamus,
try to dumb it
hypothalamus.
down for us, layperson, because I'm not
Yeah.
following you.
wait,
So
because before we get it, because we have other people that also have their own their own ideas, their own thoughts, which is why I covered the whole point that KTS workers talked about. So that the conversation only has value if the speakers agree based on the understanding and definition of
Okay.
love. And again, that understanding and definition is not the same way for everyone.
Well, you establish us? I want you to establish us a foundation of where to understand love, or what to understand love as. Like, because we can agree on what it is if you establish like a foundation
Uh,
of what it
I
is.
I will go exactly what you said in saying the chemical endorphins because the idea of thinking that I would hold love above all is absolutely crazy. I would hold respect more than love above
But what
all.
about familial love?
Oh, wait. Let's just go that far. As far as you're going right now, is all love the same? Should I love my intimate partner the same way I would love my mother? Of course not.
Well,
All
that's
love is
what I'm
different.
saying.
and may I suggest something? I have
So there's
a
not just
link.
one form of it. There are some people that you want to lose your life for, like your children, but not necessarily other people. But you claim that you love them.
May I present something in regards of that point that was being made on the chat? I have the link for the etymology of love, but
I see it.
also I want to present something interesting. For
You want
me,
to?
I have two words for love. I have love in English and I have amor in Spanish, and then I also speak Portuguese, French, and indigenous language of my people. So not only do I have two words, I have six different words um, that are meaning love, and if we only dedicate in English. So that's interesting because what he said, what was your name? The other friend who's
Blind.
Blind. Okay. What Blind said, yeah, I mean, if you look at the etymology of love in Spanish, comes from the word amor, which has the same suffix or the same beginning, I'm sorry, than the word of amigo or amistad, which in English translates amigo, friend, amistad, friendship. So in Spanish, when we talk about amor, we're also including concepts like friendship in that sense. So there
Yeah.
could
Well,
love in that.
and I don't mean to be. I'm not. I
So
truly don't mean to be disrespectful, but just for the sake, because it has to be pointed out. But you're becoming dangerously close to actually uh like giving us an actual in life, real life representation of what Resla started the stream talking about. So I just would ask you to not outrun us intellectually, because I'm trying to
no, no.
keep up with what you're saying, but you're getting a little bit too complex for my understanding.
Yeah, look, man. If you let me go, I'll go. And I start dropping into this type of conversation. I love it. I'm good at
No,
it.
no, no.
I know.
It's not.
Yeah,
But,
just
And
but you're
blind.
right. You're right, Blaine.
simplify
You're
it.
right, Blaine. Please let me know when there are those moments that we need to backtrack in order for my points to be made clear. Yes, I'm famous for that. I'm real good at just going and going for it. But let's go back to that point of beginning of saying, okay, let's agree of a definition of love. I have the link of etymology if you want to use it. Uh, we could go to a descriptive dictionary, whatever, you know. But yeah, that vision, I do want to keep in mind that in my case, I have not one word that defines love, but 6 different words.
So he's got 6. I have what the actual experience is according to what we know as a doctrine. So what exactly is love to you, Blind?
Uh,
Because I
to
don't look at
me,
it. I don't look at it as the same as going to Hogwarts.
it's a connection. I mean, to me, love is just like it's the in the most simple terms. It is a connection. It's a
What,
strong connection.
what does that mean? Are we saying not enough Wi-Fi? Like what exactly does that mean?
Well, it's to me, love is the most profound thing a person can experience, man. To me,
Sir,
love
what does that mean?
it means when you feel like
try to explain
everything
to
is
someone
gonna
who's
be all right,
logical.
even when it
Try to
ain't.
explain to someone who is logical. What does that mean?
Okay,
How do I translate that binary?
love is the thing. It's the ability to still be okay, even in the absolute worst of times. It's the thing that allows you to mentally and emotionally conquer any situation that might defeat you physically or whatnot. It is the thing that inspires. It is the thing that creates. It's a thing that it's the ultimate form of existence to be in love, and that's just my
Blind. You sound
I'm
like
a romantic.
you sound like you've been taking Kamala Harris classes. That didn't make
Oh
no
God.
damn sense whatsoever.
Let me ask a quick question to
I
Blind.
hate you,
Blind,
bro.
are you familiar? Are you familiar with the words agape and philia? I put them on the private chat. Agape and philia.
Yes.
Blind, are you familiar with those words?
No.
Okay, they are words from the Greek. Agape, in very short and concise way, agape means that unconditional love that could be translated of the love of God or the love of goddesses, etc. That metaphysical experience of love. And the
So
philia is the love experienced by the close net relationship that you may have with an individual. So,
Okay.
so the way how I always look at unconditional love is I always tie it to 2 things. And people are gonna hate me for saying this. Your children and your pets.
That sounds like white people stuff. Half white people nonsense.
No, no,
Half.
so let me explain it to you. I have seen animals who have been mistreated and still mistreated and love their owners. And
Oh, okay, the way
and
an
I
animal
see
loves
I
you.
see
I got
kids
it.
I've seen kids with parents who are crackheads and still look out for their parents.
You're right. You're right. I was thinking the way you love your
That is
pet, but
unconditional.
I agree. That is a base definition that I can agree with, and I can fully agree, get on board with that. I agree with that.
yeah, I'm good with that definition. I agree with that definition in essence. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just real quick,
I ain't got that.
Resla, are
I
you
don't got that.
saying
I
Oh,
don't
are you
got that.
saying that
I've gotten
can't?
that.
You're saying that can't exist romantically? Because you
I
said
don't no, sir. Not with me. It does not.
huh.
Well, in that case, I'm a bit different because in my case, I feel deeply, madly in love with my ex-wife, and what I fell for was everything that that was that relationship until it ended. So is love eternal? No. Is love something that evolves and can be evolved? Yes. But in the sense of that idea that you presented of dogs, I've rescued over 200 dogs. I've kept two. And one thing I've really enjoyed is that dogs or animals in general, they since they don't have those preconceptions and prejudices, etc., they just act what they have to act. And once you have a good bonding with an animal, with a so badly called pet, part of that becomes part of your family, dude, you feel the love, and it's there, and it's until the day they die or you die. So in that sense, yeah, I agree with the definition of rest, and that Resla. Sorry, I'm still learning the names. I apologize.
You're good. You're good.
Um,
Well, I think that with this specific uh, topic, I have a very extremely unique perspective for the simple fact that I, like I said, am in the backside of a ugly breakup in which I was broken up with, in which I was and to a degree will always be in love with the person, and only because I appreciate her for everything that she is. And I can honestly say that I've never met anyone like her. I don't think I ever will. And I truly did fall completely in love with her, like, and unconditionally. So I do believe in it, and I think it's very real, and I'm the victim of it. In all honesty, shit.
Good.
so here,
Can
let
I
me
tell you?
propose.
Can I tell you a good precursor that's going to help you with that? It's
What's
called
that?
time.
Yeah,
Time will mend that shit. You will not feel the same way.
yeah, I know that. I mean, but I'll miss it. I mean, like that's the thing is that it's an enjoyable feeling
You,
to
you
me to
won't.
love
You won't.
somebody.
And if you love multiple times, then you'll understand that even though you have loved multiple times, you'll understand that with each partner that you experienced love, that love was still some different because it was tailored to that specific person. It is not one way to feel love for people.
Well,
It
so
will
what
be
about
different.
okay, but is the level of sacrifice the same? Like if you love and you're
Wait,
willing to
no, no.
sacrifice, right?
The sacrifice could also be looked at as just your responsibilities.
Nah, I mean I look at it as your freedom when it comes to love. Shit. You sacrifice your freedom to be
Did
in a
you hear the word that you
relationship.
used? Sacrifice, freedom. Tell me how those two things match up, sir.
Well, because that's what you're giving up when you step into a relationship. You're giving up
How does
all.
sacrifice? You just heard what came out of your mouth. How does sacrifice sound like freedom? That's what you're giving
No,
up. That's
you
what the word that's in your
sacrifice
mouth. You're
your
giving up.
freedom.
That does
You
not sound like freedom.
you are sacrificing your freedom. So it's
How
not
are you free? How are you free?
because I was free to bang all the chicks.
How, sir? You're
I don't know.
totally
I
contradict
felt
yourself.
free. I maybe it was a fleeting feeling that was an actual reality because the chicks wouldn't bang me back. But
Sir, that was a straight up contradiction right out your mouth in one breath. You
yeah,
cannot,
that's
you
right.
cannot be a sacrifice and say free at the same time. That's like
That's
saying
true.
I'm a free felon. No,
That's
sir, you're
true.
locked up. You're locked up.
I'm
You're
an
getting locked up.
oxymoron on that one.
So how about if we agree on something simple? Um, I said the words agape and philia that coming from the Greek. So can we define love in the different languages, especially in English right now, as I would define it as a multifactorial response to feeling good.
I
It's
concur.
beyond that. It's beyond.
No,
It's.
I,
I
I
mean,
concur with that definition.
it's so far beyond that, in my opinion, man.
I hate to tell you this, Blind. The way you think that you for that partner will immensely change if you have children. You won't even
Oh,
look at her the same way compared to how you look at your kids, and
what,
she
what
will be
happened?
the
What
same way.
happened to
Will
DEFCON
be
2,
the
3,
same way.
and 4, bro? You didn't have to skip all the DEFCONs and go straight to my
Sir,
kryptonite.
she will go to DEFCON 5. The moment that baby comes out and she holds that baby in her arm, you can call this shit red alert. Whoop. That's it. You're not the main thing at all.
Yeah,
She might have said, I take a bullet for you. But the moment that kid was born and the kid was in the blanket and she held it, she says, I saw the sun,
but
the
that's
moon,
beautiful.
the
I
mountains and
support
the
that.
Look, simple. There's no DEFCON definition for that experience. I would call that DEFCON here.
it's over for
There's
you.
none. It's over. It's done.
You're
Bro,
done.
have you ever been with a woman giving birth?
I don't have no kids. No, I haven't.
Hey,
I don't
I ain't
have
got no
kids.
kids. The answer
But
was still yes.
yeah, I don't have kids, but the answer is yes. I have been there when the woman is
Oh, well,
giving.
oh, you mean been present? I thought you meant like been a part of the
Be present. Be present.
experience. I've
Been
been present.
present
Yeah,
in any way, shape, form, or manner, either
yeah,
throughout the 9 months or in any condition, period, or aspect that you were there at that moment of the birth. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever seen the process of birth and after the birth?
yeah,
You've seen it, so you
yeah,
know that there's an immediate change in the eyes of that person, as well
yeah.
as the eyes of the man. And in occasions, I have seen that change doesn't happen, but there are other circumstances surrounding that. So that's why I suggested this definition of understanding love
But
as
okay, but look, but there's nuances to all this stuff too, because I feel like at the moment that happens, the moment the like say your child is born and the mother does have this
I'm about to
immediate
settle this shit. Go
connection.
ahead, Mike.
Like this is where we circle back around to the word sacrifice, man,
I love
because
you. About to settle this shit. Go
no,
ahead, go right on ahead.
blind. Give me a moment.
because
Give me a
like
moment.
I would be willing. I mean, because that's when it's like mission accomplished, man. Like check it off, you're good to go. Life is complete, man. Like
But
that's
I get you. Everything has nuances, but for the sake of this conversation, the what I'm proposing is that we all agree on a simple,
yeah.
straightforward
Okay, I can
definition
agree. I
of it.
can agree on
Hold
the
on.
definition
So
you give.
let me rephrase it in this way. The definition that we can agree of love and also amor and that generalized aspect is to either it's the I'm gonna make it even more simple.
Yes.
Love, we can agree right now that love, the definition is to either cherish, feel good, delight in, show, um, have metaphysical fulfillment. Can we agree on that parameter of what we're trying to define as love?
I mean that seems like the more superficial aspects.
Sir, I've
But
mourned
I
all of
agree.
my previous loves. I mourned them like they were deaths. I mourned them because
Yeah.
'cause I would say because the moment you're talking about how you felt all this love and you basically would have sacrificed whatever, put yourself in a scenario you have children with the chick. You love her so much unconditionally, right? Because you can't hold that for everyone. So who are you sacrificing in the midst of a crisis? Are you gonna sacrifice the kids and just say I'm gonna do a new one because you love her so much, or are you
No,
gonna
you sacrifice
sacrifice her for the kids?
yourself. You sacrifice yourself.
No, no. If the choice comes down, we looking at a Spider-Man situation. It's her or the kids. Which one you reaching for?
Oh, I'm sacrificing the kid
And on
because
top of that, which one you think that she thinks that you're gonna reach for?
Oh,
you see, the decisions will be exact opposites of each other because she'll pick the kid over me, but I would pick her over the kid because she
And
could give
she'll
me
hate
another
you for
kid.
the rest of her life.
Yeah,
The
that's
rest
the
of her
airplane.
life.
That's the airplane dilemma. I will
yeah,
answer honestly. I will first reach for myself because if I don't save myself first, how the fuck I'm gonna save the kid I'm trying to save?
That's a
Yes, I agree. We tend to first of all go for rescue the kid. But if you're dead, who the hell is going to rescue the kid? You gotta
Yeah.
save yourself first before you can save others. So, but that's a nuance that goes beyond what we were
Yeah,
actually
that
trying
flies in
to
the face of
define.
chivalry. Like
No,
that
chivalry. Just though
that goes.
I love my chick. Guess what my chick knows? I love me more.
And she loves
That's
herself more.
cold, bro. You're cold,
No,
bro.
no,
You
no.
a cold
That's actually
motherfucker,
look
dog.
in all my
No, no.
relationships.
You say cold, right? But don't we have the expression of I cannot pour into an empty cup? If my cup is not full, how can I look after her? If I am broken, how can I expect to hold her up?
Look, let me give you an example there, Blind.
Well, I mean, bro, like
I'm going to give you one
bro,
simple example. Give me a
I'm
moment.
being so that y'all know, like I'm being,
I'm going to give you a
I'm
practical
speaking
example.
idealistically, because like in reality, like I fuck it all up. In all honesty, like I'll probably everybody probably die because
So,
it got left in my hands. So, like I'm just speaking off of what I would hope that I would be able to do. You know, act selflessly and stuff.
of course, and I get you in this sense, but here, let me give you an example. I'm a reservist first responder. I assist in matters of accidents, etc. So one of the first things we are taught is if there is an accident and you're pretending you are in that accident,
Yeah, I
who's
already know
the
what
first
you're
thing?
gonna say. You're gonna like
What
the
I'm
same
going to
thing
say?
to say about the breathing bags on an airplane.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
The reason is that if and I'm going to make it real simple. And it's in real situations where I have been, where I've had the bad circumstance of having people I love near me and myself get injured. You know what is the first thing I
Okay.
did on that circumstance? I saved myself in order to be able to save those I loved, because
Okay,
I
but
had to.
what if you save yourself and you save them? And how does she know that you really loved her if nobody died? Nah,
Well,
I'll just
man,
be stupid.
yeah, I know, man. But
I'll just be dumb.
if we go on the butt, 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 at the end we're gonna have a butt chin. You know.
True. That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm just a romantic, man. I believe in grand gestures. I believe in like
I said Hogwarts. I said you believe in Hogwarts. I was expecting the
yeah.
Expecto Patrol up anytime because you was
Yeah.
there.
Hey,
You was
but it's
there.
not that's not always to me. I know in my case, it's not a bad it hasn't served me in a bad way. It's actually served me well. It served me good to be like that, to be more on the I always want to lean more towards the side of love when it comes to a woman, man. When it comes to a
What does
relationship
that
and stuff,
mean? That's the point. What does that mean?
it
The
needs
saying
all
the
the
word doesn't
stereotypes.
give it power. What does that? This is not magic. What
Take
does
no,
that
but it is.
mean?
It is okay. Take
It's not
all the
magic.
cliches,
Do you believe in
all of the
magic? And hope
proverbs,
you do. Like
all the
no.
gift cards, like all that stuff, and roll it into like a ball, and
Shoot that shit like a basketball. That's exactly what.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
Blind,
Like,
I get you.
I'm
I get
beginning to
what you're
think you don't
saying,
have a heart, wrestler.
but I'm extremely different from you in the sense that I've learned something in my life. Very simple. One, you can't save everyone. Some people will die, and some people will die because they're fuck ups, and they
Yeah,
fucked up
that's me.
their own circumstance. And two, love is conditional and limited to compromise.
Oh, thank you. You said that. I'm so
Oh
happy you said
shit.
that. So happy you said that. So happy you said that.
That's true. That you can't argue with that. That's like
Listen,
that
Brian,
is true.
I said it earlier. All
Yeah.
relationships are transactional.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't really. You're right. You're right about that, man. But I like I said, bro. Like I want to remain hopeful and and like I don't know, man. Y'all making me it's sad to think that people don't operate in love, man. Like that to me is sad.
Look, people operate.
It's not sad. It's really not. Oh, John, and dogs, sir,
Look,
and dog. Don't forget dogs.
yeah,
Dogs also
dogs,
get unconditional love.
but it's also transactional.
Of
Dogs
course,
react
yeah.
because
Well,
it's transactional.
and
If you have a treat on your hand and you're teaching that dog to do something, what is that dog going to do? Learn that something because it's going to learn that there's a transaction of that particular food. Now, it's not only a question of transaction. I am not going to paint to you the picture that everything is uh, on a transactional level. When I'm
okay,
also
well,
about
I'm
compromise, hold
curious.
on, give me a moment. When I talk about that love is as powerful as to where compromise is related, it also refers to the capability of people reaching those compromises and respecting or binding
Yeah,
words, binding the compromise to the actions. That's why we have a concept known as betrayal, because
but
betrayal.
let me ask you this: Are you guys are y'all of the mindset that women or people are incapable of selfless love? Like, are y'all saying that that doesn't exist at all?
So this is what I'm saying. Everybody changes with this thing that we all know as time. You know what's the most
Yeah,
important? You know what's the most important part of all that stuff? The things that they committed to. Not everybody feels great about the job when they first started working, right? But if they've been loyal to the job, they still do what? Perform their duties.
yeah.
Commitment. This is why I said I'll take the respect over the fact that the love may fade.
So are you saying that the commitment is preferential over like a over?
Foundation, sir. It is the foundation.
I have three principles in my life. Principle number one: I am loyal to the death or the betrayal, whichever comes first. And out of my 43 years of life, betrayal has come first most of the time. Two,
Yeah, I mean that's a given, man. I mean
two,
I know hoes gonna be hoes, but I'm still saying like
there's a principle in
you can
life.
have faith, man. I have faith. I have faith. We talked about that on the other stream, man. So like we're
I'm an
You got
atheist.
it.
I'm an atheist. I have no beliefs. I have no
John,
faith.
he has faith. He has
yes, I have
faith,
faith.
John.
I don't know. I don't only have faith in God
No,
and in the system, but I have faith in you guys too. That y'all
no,
would act in
no.
love if y'all
See,
were pressed to.
see,
Sir, I've been there. I've been
Yeah,
there.
you're cold, bro. You're like the Tin Man, bro. You don't have a heart, Resla,
let me
so
tell
you
you
don't count,
the second thing. I always suspect the worst. Look, the law of Murphy is a principle that is unescapable in every sense of the word. Everything that could go wrong will go wrong, no matter how right you
He's
try to
law.
do it. Murphy's law. But that's my second principle. Expect everything to go fuck up because at the end, if there's no fuck up, then you can be a little bit amazed.
The other thing, if it's
Yeah,
too good to be true, probably is.
Probably
yeah,
is. Yeah. And
yeah.
and the fourth principle of life, simple, straight up for me, as this. Approach everybody. There's a principle in penal or criminal law which is called induvio pro reo, which is in the doubt, the judge usually will favor the incarcerated person, induvio pro reo. But I can apply this to many senses in life. Induvio pro intelligence, meaning approach everybody as if they were intelligent until proven otherwise.
Well, that seems counterproductive. That seems counterproductive.
I I said the same. I said the same thing until proven guilty. Do not just take their word for it. Got to do your due diligence all the time. I said this even on your.
yeah, but what he's saying is the opposite of that.
It's
He's
cooking.
saying
No, he
he's
didn't say
saying
the opposite. He didn't say
he's
the
saying
Approach
opposite.
He said
Approach
to give
everyone.
people the
Hold on, listen,
benefit of
listen to
assuming
it.
they're intelligent.
Listen to it.
And
Approach everyone under it. When you're approaching someone and you're in doubt, approach him under the presumption of intelligence.
have
As
you been
in,
on YouTube though?
as in, because I said this blind on yours. I said when I approach somebody, I do not underestimate them or overestimate them because
You
I
did
might
say
have
that.
to
You
learn
did say that.
something.
You were wrong because you should always
How am
assume
I wrong?
you should assume ignorance when you're dealing with people in
No.
society.
I said I do not underestimate or overestimate because I might learn something. Because if I underestimate them,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get cooked.
that's true. That's true sometimes, but sometimes a lot of times like people are fairly inspired for I mean in the most in the kindest terms.
Again, it's the principle.
I
Be
mean,
loyal. Hold
I
on,
guess it's a
give me
good
a
one.
moment to complete them. Be loyal until death or betrayal, whichever comes first. Second principle: approach everyone under the doubt of intelligence until proven otherwise. And the third principle, the main one that works out there, is you come first in order to be able to help everybody else. If you
No,
give
I
up
actually agree with that.
Let's go.
I agree.
Let's go.
That's what my stream was about earlier, was the importance of knowing yourself and having a relationship with yourself. So I agree with what you're saying. I find it to be a fucking, it's just, to me it honestly is sad, man. It's a black and white, it's a colorless world without
It's
the
not black
idea of
and white
love.
line. Dave Chappelle said it. You trying to come? Well, I beat you.
Hey, real talk. Like that's what sucks is that most females that I've been with would tell you like that's him in practice. Like he's talking all that love shit, but that's that for in real life. I mean,
He
but
said you gotta move faster.
I wish the world was colorblind, but it ain't. It's tinted with so many colors. I wish the world was a fair and just world, but it ain't. It is.
But that's why the way you can like help that is to say loving stuff.
Before you jump to a point, let me make the point, and it's gonna be very clear. Give me 2 minutes. All right. So I'm gonna say it again. I wish the world was colorblind, but it ain't. It's tainted with so many colors. I wish the world was fair and just, but it ain't. It's a fucked up place. I wish the world and the relation of human, was based on that compromise and that binding, honorable compromise that humans could have, but it ain't. But I don't do shit with wishing it. I have to do something to at least seed or plant the seeds in order for those changes to.
But that's not even true. Like what you just said is completely contradictory to itself, because the wish is the seed. Like for all intents and purposes, like for you to say that, I mean, and I appreciate like I like the general concept of what you're saying, but like that's the thing, is that not enough people inject. I mean, because look, the bottom line is that I know that I probably would behave selfishly in a situation where my life is in danger. That's just human nature. That's human instinct. But when you at least vocalize, especially concepts like love, when you vocalize these ideas, you're actually giving an exchange of energy, man. Like you're actually putting
not
the idea,
energy, not the singing bowls, not the vibrations. No, sir.
I hate you today, bro.
I'll say it in the way that you said, because you got faith, work. You got faith. You got faith, right,
Resla out of control.
You got faith, right, Blind? You got faith. Let me hit you with this key. Let me hit you with this key. Let me hit you with this key then. Faith without works is dead.
Oh, I'm cooked, bro. I'm cooked.
No,
You know,
and simple as this, man. Look, I'm an atheist. I'm gonna say this straight
you
out.
know.
I don't deal in the metaphysicals because to me metaphysicals means BS. But like Resla said, and very well, action is the tool of change. If you do not stand up and try to make, and I'll give you an example. When I came out here in my country, in the news, etc., saying we gotta legalize weed, everybody underestimated me. This is crazy. Then blah 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 blah. I just I just lent deaf ears to that and continue forward and got the success. But action is also the arena of reaction. And depending on what actions you do and the reactions you get, that will depend what your present is going to show you. And I'm going to say it this way. Now that we've been talking, now that this is on the news, the freakouts
Oh shit.
have not been more than the example of those whose actions and reactions became their own tombs. And they're now 6 feet under, even if they are not on those 6 feet under, and they
Well,
will
I'm,
pay the
my bad.
consequences
I
of
don't
that.
mean to interrupt you. I wanted to sit here though and take my medicine. Like speaking of 6 feet under, wrestler killed me, so I had to sit here as a dead man and take my medicine for at least a second. But I got to get going, guys. It's been a fascinating
Yeah, me too.
conversation.
I do have to
Salute
go
to you
because of
guys.
less time. But hey,
Hey,
I
It,
hope
salute to your chat,
you come
wrestler
back.
man. Thank you for having me up here. You guys take care.
no problem, guys. And guys, if you haven't paid attention to Blind, he's like I said, he's got a great channel that he's starting out with. I think it's really been awesome. I'm gonna put his link real quick in the chat for those who might want to check it
I don't
out.
know.
He's just getting started, but I think he's got a good idea starting his concept of critical thought because we need more critical thought channels out there. This though, how you hanging out? You got to take off as well because
Yeah,
I'm
I
off.
do have to because I gotta get some stuff done. But I've subscribed to your page. I'll come back and other conversations. Uh, I can be controversial in many ways. I have
Oh
my
well, listen, we're all
positions.
about having a controversial
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. But I enjoyed this conversation today, and I hope Blind reads about agape and philia from the Greek in that sense and gets that perspective. But yeah, and let me say goodbye as my people. Pura vida, beshko woblaba, which means walk with your eyes open. That's how my indigenous people say. I'm Afro-Indigenous from here, from Costa Rica. So
Okay,
beshko woblaba, walk with your eyes open. That's how we say goodbye.
all right. Thanks for
All right.
coming by,
Thank
man.
you for having me. Bye bye.
You're allowed to come anytime you want, man. Feel
Thank
free.
you.
All right. Yeah. What whatever he said, I'm not even gonna try to butcher whatever the heck he just said right now. Um. Oh man, this was a pretty good. It was a good stream. I enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it as well. Um. This was good. Shout out to Brian. Like I said, his link in the chat. I'm also gonna put it in the description after the end of the show. Guys, we went in different areas. Not really sure how we leaned so far going into the higher rep field space. I think it started with me just explaining the difference between them, and then we kind of leaned into another area when disto came up. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But in case you're catching me on the back end of this as well, catch me on the replay, I should just say that, guys, if you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, feel free to actually subscribe to the page. And if not, if you have somebody who might be interested in actually just going through a lot of good conversations, thought provoking conversation, controversial even, be sure to share the actual video or stuff. Shout out to everybody who actually came up in here. I do appreciate you guys for coming in. I will have to figure out when the next time I'm going to do a stream. So most likely, if I'm going to do so, I'll probably just link it via community page. So feel free to actually subscribe to the page if you have not. And again, we do an open panel. I know I see a lot of you guys who are in the chat, but I'm also interested in hearing your voices one day. So I know it may not be now, but hopefully someday in the future, especially as we grow this particular community, we're able to do so. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the moment. Outside of that, guys, I am gonna go chill for a bit. I'm gonna go check out some of the channels as well because, quite frankly, it it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, and I like checking out other channels. It's the same way how you guys do. I like being a person who sits back and involving themselves in the chat as well. If you see me on other platforms, feel free to say hello. I will definitely say hello to you guys as well. Oh, say good night, KTS worker. Good night. Have a good night. I saw your email, by the way. Some good stuff there. I'm gonna do a bit of research from what you sent me. Outside of that, guys, I appreciate you guys for being here once again. I hope that your journeys are doing well. I hope that your families are good. And I will see you on the next one, guys. You know how we sign off. Stay opinionated.